We're still here.
I accidentally hit end stream instead of transition.
Welcome to the Fight Pit. It's me. This is actually the Fight Pit. This is what they were broadcasting.
Makes sense.
So, you gotta tap out or submit. Or, wait, no, that's tapping out. Or pass out. Is that submitting?
Wait, what? Is passing out
I've already
submitting?
won. I've already won.
Did you say is passing out submitting?
Yeah.
Submitting is...
Well, what are the two things? Passing out or...
Pass out or tap out.
Is it pass out or tap out?
Yeah.
That seems kind of stupid.
Why does it sound stupid?
I don't know, I just think it does. Anyways, happy Fight Pit, everybody. I'm very happy. I'm very happy because Papa Thatcher came in clutch.
More happened on the show besides that, but...
Did it?
A lot happened, yeah.
I wasn't there for that.
Take these off all the way.
Might end up ripping the snail off my finger today. No. So, happy Wednesday. I enjoyed today's show.
I did too.
I thought this was a good NXT, which is basically every NXT, so.
There was one bad fight, and that was it. Carrion?
Oh. I need that man to figure out how to have a fight longer than his fucking walkout.
NXT needs to figure out who they can have him fight. That's not just enhancement talent.
Everybody else is busy. Finn has Kyle and
Cameron Grimes?
Who? I think he went to the moon. I don't think he's coming back, dude. It is kind of concerning with all the COVID cases in NXT and Cameron Grimes being gone for, like, an indeterminate amount of time with no word on it. It's kind of sketchy.
I mean, maybe it's just one of those, like, he's choosing not to come in because of that. Like, we haven't seen Robert Stone either. And
Robert Stone was there tonight.
Was he there?
Yeah.
I know he was in that photo shoot. I didn't know he was, like, there.
He was standing next to Aaliyah and Jesse.
Oh.
On the end of the risers.
Ah.
Whenever I see people standing on risers, I just think of, like, middle school chorus concerts and stuff. Anyways, we can get into the news if you want.
You want to bring back the wheel on Friday?
Oh, we could bring back the wheel and we could drink beer. I haven't had beer since New Year's.
We don't have to have just drinking on the wheel, you know that,
Oh, no,
right?
this was more of like we could bring back the wheel and we could also drink beer now. Like, the wheel includes drinking beer. I haven't had a beer in a really long time.
Okay.
And by that I mean a couple of weeks, but I'm just craving. Like, I was trying to not drink beer for a while because it makes my stomach feel bad. But I just, like, want shitty, like, PBR.
Wheel coming back this coming Friday on SmackDown. I could be lying.
Mark and I usually say that we're going to do something, then we don't do that thing for a couple of months, so.
Leave your suggestions in the suggestion box below of what you would like to see on the wheel.
Of Fortune.
No? Alright,
I'm Pat Sajak.
Just start the news. Start the news.
Is Pat Sajak Wheel of Fortune?
Yes.
What's the other one?
Regis Philbin?
Sorry. No, there's Wheel of Fortune. Is that the one with the letters? Like the words?
Yeah. Wheel of Fortune is spelling out the words and spinning the wheel of fortune.
You know, when you really think of it, it kind of seems silly. Can you put this up there?
All game shows are silly.
Not Jeopardy.
Don't have it in the hand. I can't.
Oh, it was probably my bra on stream. Sorry if we get banned. It wasn't intentional.
Just expect everyone to clip that.
It's actually a really ratty bra, so have fun. Alright.
As if creeps on the internet will care.
Yeah, if you want like a little peek of their boob. Have fun. They're pretty decent. Anyways, no, that's out of the way.
I like how we're 5 minutes in and we still haven't gotten to the news.
You know, I always like having a little bit of like banter before the news, and you always want to jump right into it. So 5 minutes is actually really good timing.
Do you want to like extend it any longer?
Yeah, now I do. Anyways, I weirdly enough have almost all WWE news. So we're going to start with the one piece of AEW news that I have.
One of them isn't, that I'm seeing, isn't WWE.
Well, one is vaguely AEW. Vaguely. But this is very basic news. Tama Tonga has now spoken about the Elite and I believe AEW trademarking the Too Sweet thing. I don't know if they specifically trademarked like the hand thing or if they trademarked every part of it. But Tama Tonga is just keeping the feud alive until they make their way over to Japan until COVID's over, it seems, by saying they're not using Too Sweet so they can have it, basically.
I thought he was going to try and carry that into a feud. Do some cross-promotion.
Well, I think they are. I just don't think that they can get their people over to Korea just yet. Korea.
Yeah, I was going to say, what's in Korea?
I was just having a moment where I was thinking of India, and my brain got really confused about East Asia for about 5 minutes. Anyways, I don't think that they're going over to Japan anytime soon. I don't think Japan wants Americans over there right now.
Yeah.
And I don't think that we're allowed to go over there right now. Anywho. Now, the other piece of news that's vaguely AEW, vaguely WWE is that Taya Valkyrie was written off Impact and has been teasing going to WWE or AEW.
No idea who she is, so I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, I don't know her that well. Basically, she was written off Impact at Hard to Kill. Apparently, there's a storyline where... Oh, well, no, okay, I know the storyline. You know how Johnny Bravo got shot at his wedding?
Johnny Bravo?
John E. Bravo.
I was thinking the cartoon,
Not that
and I was
one.
really confused.
No.
I was like, that was a brutal cartoon then.
Essentially that one, but not that one.
But no, I don't remember that.
Okay, so John E. Bravo, there was a storyline, there was an in-ring wedding, lights went out, he got shot, and I guess they are still running with that storyline, which was months ago, so I mean, kudos to them. But apparently, it's funny because I heard about it when it first happened, because it was kind of cruel. A lot of, like, the wrestling news outlets were like, Johnny Bravo shot at latest Impact event, and I was like, fuck, I don't know the man, but, like, that's bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, in the storyline. And I was like, okay, well, maybe in this day and age, not the thing that we can just goof off on, but anyways. Trying to be careful because I forgot that the shirt really does ride up. But I heard about it in the beginning, and now it's months later, and I'm like, so this is where we are. But apparently, Taya was the person who sprayed ring rust in Larry D's face, which led to the shooting of Johnny Bravo. And because of that, she was subsequently arrested. Subsequently arrested by police. Quote marks around all of that. So, Tommy Dreamer said that she's acknowledged that she's heading out and that she's probably going to WWE or AEW. And he said, if she's lucky, she'll go to Jacksonville State Prison for what she did. If she's unlucky, she'll go to Stanford State Penitentiary for maybe 2 years with an option for 3. Trust me, that'll change a person's soul forever. And Jacksonville is referring to AEW. Stanford is WWE.
I like that little wink wink.
I do love that he's like, if she's lucky, she'll go to AEW. And if she's unlucky, she's going to go to WWE, and it's not going to be fun.
Mm-hmm.
Could be cool to have another woman.
More women that are on the NXT roster, the more that they'll probably move to the main roster.
Right, and I think also it seems like NXT right now, which is the next piece I'm looking into, is really pushing to sign more women.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be a sign.
I mean, yeah, you can tell by how slim the women's Dusty Rhodes Classic bracket is compared to the men's.
It's such pain because the main roster is doing jack shit for women wrestlers. AEW's doing jack shit for women's wrestling, and like Kenny Omega, who has sway in the fucking company, was like, I'm gonna be so happy one day when like our women's division is as good as it should be. And I was like,
does he have sway in the company?
Yeah. And it's just like, okay, so do something, dipshit. It's like Vince saying, well, I wish the women's roster was good.
I don't think Kenny Omega's the Vince of...
Sorry. That's a bit different, fine. But, anywho. It's just funny to me. It's like NXT's like got their Dusty Rhodes Women's Tag Team Classic, and I'm like, not impressed.
You're not impressed by NXT's?
I mean, just like the number of teams.
Yeah.
I wish it were bigger, but at the same time, they're doing more than a lot of other brands and promotions in general are doing, so it's like, well, I'll take what I can fucking get, I guess. But speaking of, NXT has signed 3 new women, which you would have seen if you sort of would have seen if you watched tonight and if you knew anything about the news. They signed Lacey Ryan, who is originally from, and I sent you this stuff, but we've been texting a lot today, so let's see if I can find it. Lacey Ryan, who's primarily been in the indies, and is now Zoe Stark. They signed, and thank God for this one, Priscilla Kelly.
She's good at wrestling.
She's good at wrestling. Yes, absolutely. I'm very excited. Mm-hmm. She's also a very strong character. And the fact that she gets to come back with the red Eva Marie hair.
I'd say it's more like Becky Lynch than Eva.
No, that was like primary red. And Becky Lynch is like...
I mean, do you want to see what her hair looks like? Because I follow her on Instagram.
You can show me what her hair looks like. I know I've seen. She's got like red hair like your notebook.
That's her hair. It's like carrot orange.
Okay, well, tonight it looked red, so. And there were also extensions in. Yeah, that's not Becky Lynch red. That's red.
Okay. Well, we'll see when she's in the tournament.
But she is now... I'm going to pronounce it the way I want it to be pronounced, which is Gigi Dolin, or Gigi Dolan.
It's definitely Gigi Dolan, and it's so stupid. It's such a bad name.
Well, they're probably going for a flirtier angle with her because her personality is pretty sexual.
She's kind of like a dom character. Dominatrix.
Yes. Anyways, she's pretty well known for her matches recently in AEW, but also in a lot of different indie promotions. I'm not sure which one's up.
Well, she's... I just had the... I knew a one. I think it's like NWA or something like that. Because I know she wrestled Priscilla... wow.
She wrestled herself.
Yeah.
Full Undertaker.
I mean... being married to Darby Allin, you're going to. But she wrestled Thunder Rosa. She did a little stuff on AEW, I think.
But she wrestled Thunder Rosa on AEW.
Right, yeah. But yeah, she's all indies.
Also, I texted you the names and their... Oh no, I only texted you one of the names. And they lastly signed Elena Black, who is now Cora Jade, who I believe, I've heard, and I have not looked this up to confirm, but I believe she is 19.
That is crazy.
That is a baby. Not only to be signed to NXT, but not just like a little trainer.
Mm-hmm.
Or trainee. Sorry, not a trainer. And she is also known throughout the indies, and is currently having a massive real-life feud with Joey Janela, which I support entirely. Finally, the WWE also signed Anthony Henry from Evolve, which is a pretty big signing. He's an Evolve champion, and also that's where Drew Gulak and Timothy Thatcher and Leon Ruff, Orange Cassidy, Matt Riddle, that's where a lot of those guys spent a lot of time. Biff Busick.
For those who don't know, that's Oney Lorcan.
Every once in a while I get caught up on his old ring name, and I just can't stop myself. And in addition to that, Jason Jordan is looking like he is going to return soon as well. He was injured a while ago. He had a neck injury in 2018 and has been working as a producer. But Chad Gable noted on the bump that apparently he is prepping, training, getting ready for an in-ring return, which will be also exciting.
I think I watched that live, actually.
His neck injury?
No. I watched Chad Gable say that.
Oh, the bump?
Yeah, I watched the bump.
I was like, damn, that's like really serendipitous in a weird way. I believe that there's a match between him and Tim Thatcher that I really like. I believe it's him. Now let's see what else we're looking at here. Okay, so bigger pieces of news, actually. So a lot of people were confused when the women's bracket was released that Marina Shafir is paired up with, I think, Elena.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of people were confused by that because everyone just kind of assumed that Marina and
Jessamine Duke
were going to be together. But apparently, it looks as though Jessamine Duke has officially kind of just stated that she's focusing on creating content for Up, Up, Down, Down. She was streaming full-time when the WWE picked her up.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess it just seems like she's going to stick to that. Not necessarily leaving or retiring, which is what I wrote down, but this I was lazy.
I was confused by what you said.
I was just being lazy. I didn't want to type anything out. But more so, she said that she's more comfortable doing this during the pandemic, which is fair, because if you can make money from behind a computer screen versus in person in a combat sport.
Yeah, it makes sense. It looks like she's doing like a page roll. Now, really? You couldn't wait?
Don't look at me.
Ew.
Oh no, it's not bad.
Oh, okay. Just embarrassed.
And dab my nose. Sorry, folks.
But yeah, like she'll be taking up like a page roll, kind of.
Yeah. Which again, I don't blame her. I cannot imagine. Even if like I loved wrestling, like even if that was like my passion in life, I cannot imagine during this time being like, yeah, this is fine. We can wrestle people during a pandemic.
Yeah.
And last but not least, and this is one of my favorite pieces of news because it's something that I think you and I and just about everyone else in the entire world recently have been kind of echoing. Big E had some shit to say about part-time wrestlers. You'll understand in a second. So basically, Big E said that he feels like around WrestleMania time every year, the WWE kind of goes through a short list of big names that they can bring back for big matches to sell the shit out of it.
Oldberg.
And he said that it's not fair to younger talent and people that have been like scrounging for opportunities. That all of a sudden it's like exactly what we said the Legends Night is Goldberg just walks in and says, I want a title match. Yeah. And Vince is like, yes, please. Sign me up.
Yeah. You don't have that stuff on NXT because it doesn't really, like, allow for it.
Yeah, I don't think if a legend's coming back, they're not going to come back.
Except Mercedes kind of did do that.
Sort of. I would say Kevin Owens is more like that. In a way. Because Kevin Owens is more of an NXT legend.
Yeah, I mean, well, Kevin Owens didn't challenge for a title.
Yeah. I'm talking more of, like, returning just in general, but I feel like that would be... Like, if Wade were to just, like, rip his shirt off and be like, I'm gonna fight somebody now.
I'm challenging you, Finn.
That would be frustrating.
Or if Bo Dallas came back and just immediately challenged Finn.
And I think that's why, because NXT kind of benefits from the fact that there's not as much, like, fanfare for one particular time of the year.
Yeah.
I think that behooves them, in a way. Alright. You want to get into the matches and the promos?
Yeah.
The promos and the matches?
I suppose.
I cannot believe my nail is splitting. I work so hard for these.
Didn't even just knock your knuckle.
Knuckle knock.
Knuckle knocker.
Trying to not have hiccups, so. Alright.
Jump us into our first match. Why'd you write Leon versus question marks?
Because he was fighting triple question mark.
Oh, I didn't read the bold above it and thought you wrote that down as the match, and I was like, it was more than just Leon in theory.
No, Kushida and Ruff versus two idiots. Let's hold my shirt down while I do the 19th hair flip. Ooh.
Oh boy.
Oh dear.
Oh boy. There we go. I'm just gonna put.
I love that you're using your mouse on your leg.
I'm gonna put the mouse down.
Alright. This is like the one thing I hate about this is that normally, like when we used to do it, I had my notes on one side, my face on the other, my camera in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
And now I just gotta be like, okay, so.
You normally put it up there where the signs are.
I could try to do that.
Oh boy. Oh boy, you're just gonna go for it. Live on air, everyone see Liz drop her laptop.
Needle. I was gonna assume more so just smack the mic and make bad noise.
I am clicking all over the place. Here we go. Oh, here you go.
Alright. So we start with Leon M versus Mr. Game Theory. Theory drops Leon, and then there's a shoulder tackle to Mr. Theory. No, that's not true. There was a shoulder tackle to Ruff. But on the get up, Ruff trips Theory and then hits him with a nasty dropkick. Ruff goes over the rope and hits Theory with an elbow. Then he counters a submission hold by Mr. Austin Theory. Ruff then dodges a dropkick, making Austin Theory look like a complete fool, landing just face first on the canvas. It was so good. He then kicks Theory under the jaw and gets Kushida. We get a nice team arm wrenching, and then both men decide to kick Austin Theory. Kushida takes to tangling Mr. Austin Theory's arms behind his back into a nasty little pretzel. He falls back on his ankle as he's got it hooked around his leg. We get a wrist lock on Theory. Kushida tries pulling his shoulder to the back of his head, and then Theory gets up and slams Kushida backwards before tagging Gargano in. Gargano just starts Mr. Gargs. Started gargling. That's a bad word. I hate that word.
Stop. Also, can I just say that during this match, we were watching this on Fubo, and it was buffering every 5 seconds in this whole match. So if we missed some stuff, that's why.
Pain.
We had to watch it through not so legitimate means.
When the service you pay for doesn't work, sometimes you have to go the alternate routes.
That's the free market. People will turn to pirating.
Thank you, FCC. So Gargano gets in and just is raining blow upon blow onto Kushida. He knees Kushida in the back. Kushida ends up getting up, punches Gargano. There's an elbow sent to Kushida. Gargano gets Theory back in, and we get a massive dropkick to Kushida's jaw. Just did not look nice, did not look fun.
Yeah.
Theory then whips Kushida into the buckles. Can't manage to lock his submission hold in. We eventually get Johnny Gargano back in. There's a team shoulder tackle to Kushida, and then a kick to the face of Kushida. Theory gets back in. Theory tries to suplex Kushida, but is blocked. He goes for a second time, and this time Kushida manages to tag Leon Ruff in. We then have a missile dropkick off the top rope, a shoulder tackle. Austin Theory is rocked, just on rubber fucking legs at this point. Ruff fucked this up a little bit. It looked like he... It looked like he tried to do it and failed. Mm-hmm. Like he just didn't have the right hold. But he did his little kip up into like a kick to the face. It looked like he had to try it twice. I was like, oh, bud. So Ruff gets up onto the buckles. He punches Gargano. He goes to moonsault crossbody Austin Theory, but he is caught and then powerbombed. Kushida gets in with a missile dropkick to Gargano. Takes on Theory as well at this point. I believe this was when we decided to investigate alternate means of... this was when we tried to refresh the Wi-Fi, actually.
During a commercial break.
A picture-in-picture commercial break.
Picture.
A PIP. Commercial break. I feel like... you can't see. It's just slightly less blurry. I mean, I can go the full 200.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, we're all good. 200%.
Grandma's here.
Can I just send a clip of this to my eye doctor and just have them send me some new glasses?
I feel like you're using the laptop version of a jitterbug. Remember that thing?
The thing still exists.
Had a jazzy commercial.
Wasn't it like actually a song though?
Was it?
Yeah.
Huh.
Because like there's a song about like doing the jitterbug because like that was a dance that old people did.
Mm.
Fucking weirdos.
Yeah, how those old people. They suck.
War really gets to a person. I wouldn't know.
Not every old person was in war.
Well, they lived during war times.
We live in war times.
The what now?
2 wars.
Oh, the war against myself and the war against Drake words.
There's more wars than that.
There's more than 2 wars?
Bigger ones than those.
I'm only at the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
Really dumb. Alright, anyways, there's a missile dropkick to Johnny Gargano from Kushida. He begins taking on Austin Theory, who just chose to intervene because he's a fucking buffoon. Kushida does his signature handspring off the ropes and an elbow to Theory. He takes Johnny off the apron. The handspring off the ropes is one of the few examples of a move that has like a lot of flourish and not a huge payoff that I don't hate. It's like what Dana Brooks cartwheel into the back elbow in the corner could be.
Yeah.
If she just had like I don't know what she's missing.
Strength.
No, she's definitely jacked.
I mean, you can be jacked but not be like strong.
So a convincing hit. How's that?
Yeah. Maybe confidence.
Yeah, she doesn't really seem as confident as she used to, honestly.
Yeah.
Back in the Carmella days, I felt like she was a lot more just like, it's me.
The Bella days.
Yeah. She thrived in the Divas era.
Yeah.
And she had to develop a personality.
Oof.
Gets to all of us, honestly.
What did she develop on, though?
No. I'm just saying that she had to. Has since failed. Anyways, I love women's wrestling. I do. I say this out of a place of love. There's a handspring off the ropes and an elbow to Theory. Kushida then takes Johnny Gargano off the apron. We then get a little DDT to Mr. Gargano ringside from Kushida. My dude's all over the fucking place. Never resting. Gargano then kicks Kushida like so hard in the face that I heard it and my fucking jaw was like... Okay.
I love how you wrote down Kushida as Kush.
It's Kush.
Like the episode of King of Queens where they're passing the Kush around.
Kush ball, yeah. I remember having a Kush ball. It was very therapeutic. Kushida lifts Gargano and then drops him right into an armbar. Theory manages to break the hold. Kushida sends Theory out of the ring. Gargano tries to take advantage of this. There's a forearm to Gargano and an enziguri to Kushida. We then get Theory back in. There's a heavy backbreaker to Kushida from Mr. Triple Question Mark, and a super kick for good measure from Mr. Gargano, who is back in. Johnny Gargano is setting up, and Ruff comes in and kicks Theory clean from the ring, runs the ropes, goes down onto Theory. Could have written that better. I'm like 2 letters away from making it really bad. Anyways, there's a small package and no pin from Johnny. We get a kick to the face of Kushida, and then a hip toss into a drop kick, and a nice right hand, all to Johnny Gargano from Mr. Kushida.
Wait, what word is 2 letters off from being bad?
Not bad, just inappropriate.
Goes down onto...
Because...
Oh. Goes down on Theory.
There you go.
Sex joke.
It's not funny. He's a married man almost.
I mean, he's also allegedly sexual deviant. Theory?
Oh! Well, Ruff is the one that would be going down onto him, so you really confused me. I was like, did I miss something?
Not my boy.
Like,
not
did I miss something horrible?
Not little Leon, please.
If something came out about Leon Ruff, I would have a breakdown. I would lose it. He's so sweet and small.
Yeah.
Oh god, you scared me for a second. Like I was like, oh no.
But also, his fiance would kick his ass.
Oh, Asha has more muscle than Mr. Ruff ever could. Mm-hmm. She's kind of overpowering Jess Carr in my favor, but I'm not here to judge them. They're here to judge me.
So did you finish the match yet?
No, not yet.
Okay.
For once in the history of this podcast, you've asked me that. I'm actually not done. We get I didn't know how to explain this. It would have been a double underhook if Gargano had his arms out, but Gargano for some reason had like the Imperium thing going where he had his arms like behind his back. Mm-hmm. And not for the reason that like Kushida was like holding them or anything, they were just there. Mm-hmm. But anyways, we get a not double underhook, but maybe almost suplex into a bridge from Kushida to Johnny Gargano to win, to advance in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. End match.
Yeah.
Don't follow these notes. By the way, I got so frustrated with the fight pit taking so long to start that I stopped taking notes altogether on promos.
Well, luckily the only thing I need to look at it for is what I had to get up to change the internet to do. But that match happened exactly as I had expected. I expected Johnny and Austin to be eliminated in the first round. That
was one I didn't quite know because I figured it would like do a lot for their ego if they won, and it would give Kushida and Ruff like a chance to do more single stuff otherwise, but
yeah, but what single stuff would they do right now? There's no place for them. Without Johnny, what's Kushida gonna do?
True. I think singles is looking a little dark right now without Damien.
I don't think so. You've got the NXT championship scene. You got whatever Dexter's up to.
I'd say you've got Karrion Kross, but I don't really know if he's actually fighting like people his size anymore, or...
Yeah. I mean, he's helping out the enhancement talent scene.
Good for him. A real Daniel Bryan.
Helping them all get paid. But after that, we had a little vignette with Pete Dunne. As Liz said, just being British.
I genuinely have no memory of what the fuck happened here.
Pete Dunne said that it's his turn in line for the title because Kyle O'Reilly had a shot, and the next person is Pete Dunne. That's basically it. And then after that, we had Tyler Rust and Malcolm Bivens backstage, and Tyler Rust is trying to beg Malcolm Bivens to have a fight against Bronson Reed for some reason.
And Malcolm Bivens is telling him, but maybe not. Maybe we don't have to do that today.
Yeah, which is Malcolm Bivens' start to being a very smart manager in the scene.
I truly do love Malcolm Bivens. He's always a good manager character, no matter what.
Yeah.
I'm always very fond of him.
And then after that, we have another promo, Karrion Kross versus Ashante Adonis. This was an advertisement for 205 Live.
It took us about 3 minutes to find a stream that was working to watch this. And Karrion had only just finished his walkout by the time that we got to it.
Yeah. His walkout is so long.
I also don't like calling Ashante enhancement talent, but he's being Tony Nese.
I mean, he's got Desmond in his corner, and Desmond is enhancement talent.
True.
And, like, Jake Atlas is used for enhancement talent, too.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that later. So Ashante kicks Karrion and then punches him. Karrion no-sells it like a bitch. Ashante jumps into Karrion's arms, more or less. There is a suplex on Ashante and then a jackknife cover. We get a Saito suplex, and Ashante is just kind of looking fucking just devastated at this point. We get a second Saito suplex, and the one thing that really takes Ashante out is another punch to the back, and he's down. Pinned. Done. Call it a day. Woo.
Yep. The walkout lasted longer. After that, we had a little vignette with MSK where they're just goofing off.
My boys.
And can't wait to see them. Who are they up against? Drake and Killian?
Yes, they're up against Drake and Killian next.
That's gonna be a really interesting match. Like, I have no idea. I have, like, no guess as to who's gonna win.
I think MSK will. I get a feeling.
Part of me believes that MSK will go all the way to the finals and win, but also that would be kind of dumb.
I don't see that happening.
They would have to beat Undisputed Era in the finals.
Yeah, and I think that because of the Undisputed drama.
And they would also have to beat Imperium or... Oh no, they would have to beat Lucha House Party or Legado, which I don't think they will. I can't
believe Fabian Eichner ruined everything for me today.
I think they'll beat Killian and Drake because that would solidify them in the tournament as being like the tag team to kind of split up mixed tag teams. Or not mixed tag teams, but
I was gonna say something, but I kind of thought it was funny to refer to Killian and Drake as a mixed tag team.
Well, it's I guess like a pickup tag team, kind of like a pickup game of just like random people.
Yeah, that's fair.
A pickup tag team. Because at this point, I don't think Killian and Drake would split up over a loss like that.
I don't see that happening either. But I do see MSK being wily enough to outsmart them.
Yeah, and they haven't really fought anyone like MSK yet.
Oh, I've never watched anyone like MSK yet.
But I can't see them beating... Oh, wait. Who else? There's Grizzled Young Vets, too, right? Mm-hmm. But they're on the other side of the bracket, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I can't see them beating Legado or Lucha House Party.
Who are Grizzled Young Veterans fighting next?
I believe it... Here, let me just pull up the bracket.
Because I think their match is next week.
Let's see, Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic 2021. No, not videos, images. Alright, so Grizzled Young Vets are up against Kushida and Leon Ruff. And Legato's up against Lucha House Party. And I think this Friday we're getting Tony Nese and Aria Daivari versus Somebody and Desmond Troy.
I smell either interference or six-man tag.
For which match?
Lucha and Legato.
No, I think that's going to be a different point.
Well, I think both matches are happening next week.
Oh.
Or
no,
Santos and Kurt is happening next week, and then probably the week after.
Yeah.
But still.
Yeah. But anyway, after that we had a promo with Tony Storm and Mercedes Martinez just talking shit to Casey and Kaden, you know, acting like they're an established tag team, like they like each other.
Doesn't make any sense. They're both like bitches, but like they're bitches with different vibes.
That's one thing that I don't vibe with NXT is that they make it seem like all heels are friends.
I don't know about that.
Well, if you look at War Games, like Tony was automatically like friends with everyone on that team. Candice was with.
Well, they just accepted her because it gave them a leg up.
I don't know. It's just. Who else is a heel? A woman heel on NXT.
Raquel. Dakota.
I don't know. But after that, we had Lucha House Party versus Imperium.
I've never been so mad in my entire fucking...
Why?
Well, first of all, this match was very strange.
Was it strange?
Towards the end, things got like a little unraveled.
I mean, by unraveled, do you mean like two people in the ring at once?
Well, more so there were some botched moves that like weren't super obvious, but like it was like it almost looked like Marcel was like 2 steps behind what he was supposed to be doing.
You think so?
Yeah. But also my notes suck for that because it was very confusing. But we start with Marcel versus Lindsay. Marcel just kind of starts breaking Lindsay's arm. Lindsay lifts himself up and pulls Bartel down in almost like a DDT, almost a sort of bulldog. I don't really know. Bartel doesn't seem to mind whatsoever. He shoves Lindsay throat first into the bottom rope. Lindsay gets up and starts chopping Bartel, which Bartel almost sold a little too well. When you consider, like, the people he's fought before, you would think that little Lindsay Dorado's hand. I don't know. I don't see it.
It's called acting.
Lindsay moonsaults over Bartel and then super kicks him in the midsection. He gets Grand Metalik in. Lindsay carries Mr. Grand Metalik to Bartel and then drops him upon the German. We get Eichner in. There's an arm drag to Grand Metalik and a European uppercut. He catches Grand Metalik and then drapes him down into a not so nice fucking backbreaker where Grand Metalik's entire body folded in fucking half. We then get a little bit of a sling blade to Eichner. Lindsay gets back in. Grand Metalik kicks Bartel off the apron. Lindsay dives out into Eichner's arms and then calls out for Beth Phoenix, who is ringside again. Calls out for Beth Phoenix to save him, basically. Which I thought was quite sweet. Okay. Eichner just drops him ringside. We then get a team offense to Grand Metalik with our lovely little drop kicks. We then have Lindsay. I think we went to commercial break, came back. Lindsay is like bent over in front of Eichner, who just clubs Lindsay's fucking spine.
I wasn't there to see it.
it was loud and it was solid. It just did not look very nice. Lindsay, however, handsprings off the ropes and kicks Eichner in the head. Marcel gets in. There's a headlock on Dorado. Marcel sends him to the corner and then catches the leg he is attempting to kick with. He then chooses to kick the hamstring of Lindsay and then kicks him right in the head as Lindsay tries to get up to the top rope. Lindsay still manages to fucking make it and DDT Marcel off of said rope. At this point, we get Eichner and Grand Metalik in. There's a crossbody to Eichner from Grand Metalik. Grand Metalik cartwheels over the ropes, kicks Eichner upside the head. We get a disgustingly nice Hurricane Rana to Eichner. And then Grand Metalik gets up on the ropes, walks around them, and moonsaults down onto Eichner, who... Normally with that move, it seems like... Well, actually, this is more of the Hurricane Rana, but like usually he's holding the person's hand before jumping down, and he just went. And I said, bye-bye. It didn't even look like Eichner knew what was going on at that point. He just like looked up and he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Marcel gets back in. He grabs Grand Metalik off the ropes and... he grabs Grand Metalik off the ropes as Grand Metalik attempts to crossbody him. He goes in... Oh, okay. I really messed up my notes. But he grabs the Grand Metalik. Eichner comes in. We get a team DDT, which...
This was weird. It didn't look like a DDT at all.
Wouldn't have called that a DDT.
Yeah.
But it's fine. Lindsay drop kicks to break up the cover. Eichner gets back in and fails to suplex Lindsay. Lindsay goes off the ropes and Eichner manages to catch him, but Lindsay crawls up Eichner's fucking body and like attaches himself to Eichner's back. Grand Metalik goes off the top rope to dropkick Eichner, who goes backwards, allowing Lindsay to roll through. Fucking ridiculous. Bartel at this point dives over both Lindsay and Eichner to break up the cover. And it's like the best camera angle because like you're just like watching the cover happen. You see Bartel. You're like, hello, you're not part of this. Bartel pushes Lindsay off the top rope into Eichner's arms. This is where it started getting kind of funky because after he did that, he got into the ring. He grabbed Grand Metalik, who was also going up on the opposite rope. And then they did like basically a Samoan drop with the two men on their backs. But then we get a spinebuster from Eichner to Lindsay, a super kick to Lindsay. Bartel goes up to the top rope, but he gets punched by Grand Metalik and loses his footing and is sent down onto Eichner. Eichner ends up outside of the ring. Grand Metalik dives out onto him. Martel tries to take Martel. I knew I was going to fuck that up.
Matt Martel
just comes in. Bartel tries to take advantage of Lindsay seeing Grand Metalik getting rolled up, but it's to no avail. There's a super kick to Marcel. Lindsay goes off the top ropes with a moonsault to win. Fucking...
Oh boy. After that, we had a weigh-in with Thatcher and Ciampa, like this is some kind of UFC match. Then we have Beth Phoenix out to wrestle. No, she's introducing the Dusty Rhodes Classic women's bracket. And that's where you see the new ladies to the NXT roster, including Priscilla Kelly. And we finally see Aaliyah for the first time in a year.
It's been ages.
But yeah, she kicks it off. And we start with Casey Catanzaro versus Pause. Roll it back. Start with Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez.
Correct. And we get Kaden and Tony in first. Just a lot of holding of one another's arms. Tony no-sells a shoulder tackle from Casey and then flattens her, and then Casey flattens her with a takedown. This doesn't last very long. Tony shoulder tackles Caden. Yeah. So Caden flattened Tony with the takedown. Already fucked myself up there. Tony shoulder tackles Caden before dropkicking her. She gets Martinez in. Martinez slams Caden down. Gets an elbow drop from Tony in on it. Caden brings an elbow up to Martinez. Finally gets Casey in after quite a lot of work, who trips Mercedes into the rope, and then we get a less than stellar team kick to Mercedes' face. There's a chop that sends Casey all the way onto the fucking ground. Casey is put into a chin lock that she tries to fight out of. Mercedes doesn't like that so much, catches Casey, and then hoists her up before dropping her very hard. Caden breaks the cover on that one. We then have Tony and Casey in. Tony does fuck all. Gets Mercedes back in. Mercedes is in with an exploder suplex to Casey. Tries to lift Casey, but Casey's just wily as shit. They get up to like the second rope. Casey ends up sitting on Mercedes' shoulders, pushing herself so that she's facing Martinez, and then Hurricane Rana's her off the top or off the second rope. She looked like a fucking little star today.
Mm-hmm. Only she was a star in real life.
Stop. Tony gets in, and through her legs, Casey manages to crawl to make the tag to Caden. We get forearms to Tony from Caden and a drop kick to Mercedes. Caden whips Tony into Mercedes, and then we get a drop kick to Mercedes' chest. There's a short scissor kick to the face of Tony, and then a foot to the face of Tony. We get a drop kick off the bottom rope. Mercedes breaks it up. Casey kicks Mercedes Martinez and goes over the top rope onto her ringside. We get a headbutt from Tony to Caden and a German suplex. At this point, it was kind of looking like the outcome was determined. Tony goes for the single leg crab and manages to get it just in time for Io Shirai to come jaunting in to take Mercedes up and onto the announce desk. Tony is distracted by this. Caden takes her legs out. Casey gets in, and Caden snaps Tony's little leg, and Casey Catanzaro fucking spirals off the top rope onto Tony in the most ridiculous fashion. That's one way to describe it.
It's been a hot minute since we've seen Io.
It's been a hot minute since we've seen Casey and Caden win a match.
Yeah. It's been a hot minute since we've seen Mercedes Martinez.
At least she's having, like, a real fight.
True. But after that, we had the cat, Finn
Meow.
Balor. Mr. Finn backstage with Willie Reeves. He said he wants to take down Oni and Danny before going after Pete Dunne. And Willie's like, okay, you need a tag team partner. I don't know. I think Finn could take him in a handicap match.
Yeah, he definitely could. Reeves was just trying to cover his ass.
But then after that, we have Mackenzie doing a little promo saying Ashante the Adonis is injured and won't compete in the tournament. Now, she didn't get to finish her sentence because she was interrupted, by Casey and Caden. But I wonder if that is Ashante and Desmond disqualified, or if Desmond is getting a new partner. In which case, I know I said Dabakato because I thought Arturo Ruas was in the tournament, but he's not. I wonder if they're going to match Desmond up with Tony Nese.
That's a possibility. Wouldn't be the most convincing possibility in the world.
Yeah.
But
or give Swerve a second chance.
I don't want that, that's for sure. I can't think of anybody else, though.
Yeah, Arturo Ruas, maybe.
But I think he tore his ACL.
Okay.
So I don't think it'll be him.
No idea. Shane McMahon?
Rather one of the Go-Go girls from Raw Underground, honestly. If I have to pick and choose here.
But then Casey and Caden come in cheering about their win, and that's really it. And then we're on to Tyler Rust versus Bronson Reed.
Not a great moment for Tyler Rust.
But
A learning moment, if you will.
Yeah. Great moment for Malcolm Bivens.
Great moment for Malcolm. So Reed starts off by just kind of trying to break Rust's wrist. It's fun to say. Reed shoves Rust out of the ring. Once he gets back in, he drops him gut first onto his knee. There's a reverse fallaway slam to Rust. Most of the match is quite literally just Reed injuring Tyler. At one point, Bronson just fucking tackles Tyler.
Just walks into him.
Just like jumps up and takes him down. It's ridiculous. We get a choke slam to Tyler and a pump kick under the jaw of Reed and a suplex to Reed, which was quite literally Bronson Reed was up on one of the second buckle, I think. And Rust managed to get himself under Reed and then let gravity do the rest of the work. But it's not enough to neuter him. There's a senton to Rust and then a tsunami, and, well, as Malcolm Bivens said, you have to learn what battles to pick. Otherwise, this is going to happen every week.
I feel like that's good writing.
Yeah.
Just like good booking in general, because it gives a match to Bronson and Tyler, but it doesn't necessarily put Tyler down because he lost. It's a moment of improvement and learning for him.
Yeah.
Which is definitely better writing than what the entirety of the main roster has right now. Anyway, next we have an interview with Mr. Cat, Finn Balor.
Oh my god.
He's asked about his tag team partner for Oni and Danny, and said that some people owe him a favor, and he's gonna pay them a visit. Give him a little chat. Yep. And then we have Finn, after a commercial break, walking into the Undisputed Era locker room, and they all stand up, and Bobby Fish isn't there. They all turn their attention to Finn and go, "Whoa, whoa, whoa, whoa." Finn wants to talk to Kyle. What was the thing Roddy yelled at him? Called him Prince.
Oh god, was it like watch your hands, Prince, or something like that?
Watch your mouth, Prince.
Oh yeah, I think it was that. Because that was when Finn made the comment about Kyle taking his meals through a straw.
Oh, yeah.
And I said, Finn, you spent an entire month tweeting about your wife making you soup. So...
Yeah, Kyle took much less time off than Finn did.
Well, I don't think he needed to have nails put into his jaw.
But yeah, so now we have a Finn Balor and Kyle O'Reilly tag team against Oney Lorcan and Danny Burch next week. That's gonna be fucking awesome.
I'm excited.
Also, I love how Oney and Danny have immediately, like, in an instant, just been pushed to the main event scene.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Thanks, Pat.
I mean, they deserve it.
Yeah. They have a lot of, as much as I hate Danny Burch, they have a lot of what makes NXT good. So, it's for sure a deserved move. I think it's just... I'm a little confused.
Why?
I honestly think that they're just trying to buy time before the next takeover, because I think they didn't really have any other ideas to how to get Finn to still be involved in that.
I disagree. I think that they're trying to just put more time in between championship challengers, because they wouldn't want to go immediately from like Kyle to Pete or Kyle to Karrion.
That's true.
You got to have some kind of story in there, and I'm glad they're doing that and not just pulling a Drew McIntyre.
I feel like having the championship is always like the curse.
Yeah, because then the championship becomes your story.
Yeah, like what else would Finn be doing right now?
They're trying with Santos, though. They're trying to give him like an actual story that's not just his title.
I wouldn't mind if he just didn't have the fucking title anymore.
That would be nice. I'd like to see him in the main card scene. Especially since his like motivation is so it's well done.
Yeah.
I feel like the main card would be a good platform for him. And being stuck in like the cruiserweight division really sucks.
I think the storyline with Lucha House Party is going to do them a lot of favors, though.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think it's going to do Lucha House Party a lot of favors because they're going to look a lot better than they would in the main roster.
Yeah.
But after that, we had, funny enough, Santos Escobar and the rest of Legado are out in the ring. Santos is calling out the champions, Johnny, Finn, even Kyle too. Just, saying one of them has a glass jaw, the other one's an idiot or something. I don't know. A freaking idiot. But yeah, they're out to kind of celebrate Legado's first round win. But then Lucha House Party come out and start immediately attacking Legado. And someone comes out to help. Help Lucha House Party. Someone with a blonde man bun. I immediately thought it was Pete Dunne. I was really confused.
Someone that Wade Barrett doesn't recognize either. So don't feel bad if you didn't.
Wade Barrett was on the side of the ring that could see his face and was still shouted, "Who the hell is that?"
Which, to be fair, until he took his hair out, that's when I realized why I didn't know who it was. But in the moment, I was like, the fuck? I've had a lot of returns lately. What's going on? Oh my god, I completely didn't even note this because the Imperium match was so fucking weird.
Oh.
Alexander Wolf has come over from NXT UK to rejoin Imperium, which means it's only a matter of time before fucking Walter comes over. I'm just asking for him to drop the fucking title, come over.
He's been on Imperium, but just the NXT UK side of it.
Yeah, but Alexander Wolf, I think, was like the last piece of Imperium that's over there besides Walter.
Yeah.
So I'm begging for that big baby to come over here. Even if it's just for like a day.
He's already over.
No, I mean like over here. Like to America.
Oh, Walter.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought you were talking about Alexander.
That's why I said the big baby, because that's what Walter's built, like a large toddler.
He really is.
It's fucking incredible. Every time I see him wrestle, I'm just like, that is a tubby baby with long legs.
Either a really big baby or a smooth bear.
I think the thing is that it's because his face is really young looking.
Yeah. Isn't he really young?
He might be, actually.
I feel like he's like really young. Like,
Let's see.
As old as us.
I made a comment about Tommaso being a bootlicker on Tumblr, and somebody said, why is he a bootlicker? And I was like, not enough time.
Because Blue Lives Matter. That's the only reason.
Oh, Walter's 33.
Oh, okay. Okay.
He's Austrian, just like me. High five, brothers.
Well, he's like directly Austrian. You're just, it's in your ancestry.
I get it, I'm white.
I mean, so is Walter. In fact, being Austrian makes you more white.
Why would you say that?
What?
Why does that make you more white?
Because, like, Europeans, are like...
Oh, I guess they are the OG whites.
Yeah, they are.
It's like...
Like, I mean, this is a horrible example, but you wouldn't call the Nazis cultured whites.
Call Walter a Nazi, though.
No, that's not what I'm saying. But, like, they're German, which, like, German and Austrian are in the same family.
I get... Well, more so I'm just saying that, like, the European countries are white, but they have traditions. We just have... American white is very, like, well, we're here.
It probably doesn't seem like it, because we live it every day, but...
I need a festival in the town square, Mark. Then I'll feel like we have culture.
We live in a pandemic, Liz. In fact, you wouldn't want to be in Europe, because Europe is doing like hot shit right now.
That's well, okay.
Not the entirety
England
of Europe.
is.
England is. Germany
they still
is.
Boris.
Germany's doing horrible.
And I don't think it works the same way because I think that people can revote Boris in like constantly if they want to. I don't think they want to. Well, it's not like they don't think. I don't think they have term limits.
We talk like we know stuff about Europe and foreign affairs.
I will have you know that when I was in high school, I was as many girls that were on Tumblr and obsessed with Sherlock. I learned a lot about British culture. I'm pretty much positive that they just keep voting people because Margaret Thatcher was like their prime minister for like 11 years.
Yep, Sherlock Holmes, the encyclopedia on.
Well, I only know
England.
about Margaret Thatcher because I watched This Is England 14 times. But I am wondering why it feels like they are moving Imperium all the way over here.
I think that they're worried about the NXT UK scene. I
don't blame them.
I think they're planning to dissolve it.
I don't know about that.
Or bring in fresh faces, something like that. Especially with because it would be one thing if Imperium won the first round and they were going to be in the tournament for a while, but they lost. There's really no reason for them to stick around.
Well, you know what this also sets up for?
What?
1, my dream's coming true. New stable, Timothy, get back into Imperium. I don't need Walter right now. He can stay over there. Carry the title. I'm begging. I just want to see Timothy stand there with his little arms behind his back and his little leggies all spread out. So cute. But also, it does lead into something that could be kind of cool, which is if they do an Imperium threesome, there's another threesome.
Liz, I don't think that's safe for TV.
Don't nix my dreams just yet. You took us down that path. But there is Pete Dunne and Oni and Danny, so once they're done with once they're done with that, maybe that's a good plan. I'm just excited. I'm really excited for Alexander Wolf to be there.
Yeah. There is that possibility. There's also Legato, which is another stable.
I feel like Imperium would be smart to avoid luchador style of wrestling for a little bit now. After tonight. It genuinely did not look like they knew quite what they were doing.
Yeah.
It sort of looked like they weren't comfortable with the moveset. And I think that's because I don't think that Imperium really has done a ton of luchador stuff prior to this.
Yeah, I agree. But
they were trying.
They were. But where were we? Oh. Next, we had an interview with Drake Maverick and Killian Dane, where they're just confident in their win next week against MSK.
Yes.
I just talked about this. How am I forgetting already?
That's what that was.
And then Drake was doing all the talking, and then Killian pat him on the back and said, "Good job. You said that really well."
Killian looked like he wanted to kill Drake Maverick for 90% of the interview, up until like he started getting really like motivational.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like,
we're seeing a grizzled young Drake. He does look more grizzled. He's got like a fake tan too. He's growing out his facial hair.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny because like he was quite literally at the bottom of that barrel, where it looked like he wasn't coming back, like he was going to be released.
Yeah.
Never forget when Trips came out with the fucking contract and he sobbed, and I said, "That's real." I don't think that was just joking around. Because if it is, Drake should have gotten a fucking like trophy for that shit. That was impressive.
Yeah.
But like for him to have gone from that to like, it's not like a title push and it's not like a massive storyline, but it's nice that he gets to have like this character that's gotten over so well.
Mm-hmm.
And his tag team with Killian's pretty believable. Yeah. I enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah.
So
I mean, Drake Maverick has held high positions at the company before. I mean, he was basically the owner of 205 Live. He was like the general manager.
Really?
Yeah. That's what he was doing when he was like about to be released.
Mhm.
That's all he was doing at that point. But then we have Lucha House Party and Kurt Stallion in an interview. Legado enter before anything can really be said. And some words are exchanged, but Santos said that he will defend the title against Kurt Stallion, the Cruiserweight title, next week. And I'm glad that they said next week and not this Friday on 205 Live.
I was fully expecting it to, and when he said next week, I was like, well, he didn't say next Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to imagine if you're saying next week, it has to be next Wednesday.
Yeah.
But if next Wednesday comes around and it's not on, I don't want to see another Santos fight. But if it's not on, I'm going to be pissed.
I don't mind Santos matches, especially now that he's getting a lot more variety in matches. But definitely no more 205 Live stuff. I definitely think he needs to drop the title.
I think Santos would be... It would be a great credit to him, because he's a good fucking wrestler. It would be a great credit to him to be against people that it looked like he was actually having to work to fight.
Yeah.
Because I think his best matches that we've had so far have been the one match with Swerve, where Swerve looked like he was actually going to fucking win.
Mm-hmm.
And that one match with Jake Atlas where up until Santos resorted to doing some stupid shit with the fucking mask, up until that point, it looked like Jake was going to win.
Yeah.
The only matches I've ever really enjoyed with him are ones where he looked like he was about to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I want him to lose, it's just because I want him to fucking try.
And I do think the title would be better in other hands. I think Kurt Stallion would be a good option for the title. Or Tony Nese. But...
yeah, Tony would be good because he's primarily 205 Live.
Or Jake Atlas.
Yeah, okay. I could see Jake.
I Swerve was the best option for the title, but now he's kind of out of that contention.
They destroyed that.
Yeah, they really did.
They had a perfect arc to it. They had Swerve coming back saying, hey, fuck you, I want the title.
Mm-hmm.
And then they said, not only are you not going to get the title, but we're going to exhaust everybody of these matches, and we're going to make you a complete shithead.
Mm-hmm.
Trips really knows how to make things wonderful and ruin things in one foul swoop.
Yeah. But finally, after that, the episode ended.
I really thought that's where we were going, honestly, too. I have spent... Technically, because it was announced the week prior to when it was supposed to happen, I have spent 3 weeks waiting for the fucking fight pit. And they said you get 10 minutes. I said, okay.
20, actually.
Was it 20?
Well, yeah, because it went like 10 minutes over.
I didn't notice that. It felt like a flash in the pan.
It was like
the sexiest flash in the pan that I could have ever imagined.
It was like 15 to 20. But yeah, we have Timothy Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa in the fight pit. And I like stuff like this because it's not for a title. It's just
for aggression.
It's just a story.
It's just because Timothy Thatcher's a pissed off dude.
Yeah.
And I love that for him. Tim Thatcher, arms and muscles ready for the matchy match is here. Versus Bootlicker Ciampa. Plus. I hope he's sad. I hope today was his worst day. Fucking pig. Anyways. Sorry. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, you went down a hole there.
Woo! Tim Tams gets into the fucking fight pit, and full disclosure, Zombie Ref, whose name I still don't know, but I will continue to refer to him as Zombie Ref, looked fucking terrified of him. Timothy approached him to have his hands and legs checked. Zombie Ref just straight up was like, no, thank you. I loved it. So finally, after we wait 20 whole minutes for Ciampa to come out, we're punching each other on the balcony area or the elevated area. I don't know how to call it. Zombie Ref also almost nearly fucking dies. Because at one point he has to jump from one side to the other side because the corner is taken. And I said, "It's my baby boy. Be careful with him." But they punch each other for a while. They're just exchanging blows. Thatcher has a nice little snap suplex into the... And that's the other thing is that, like, the elevated portion is, like, hard. The mat obviously is not as soft as, like, the ring, but, like, the elevated portion looks like it's just fucking wood.
Yeah. It's, like, no cushion to it. Looks
yeah.
Like.
And so Thatcher just gets a nasty little snap suplex on Ciampa. He attempts the ankle lock, which I did not approve of from those heights. But there is a boot to the face of Thatcher. Ciampa just starts assaulting him. I believe... Okay. Thatcher is catapulted into the bottom bar of the guardrail on the elevated area. He eventually, once we go to the picture-in-picture commercial break, Thatcher is the first one in the pit, and not quite by choice. He looks like he's lowering himself in, and Ciampa takes advantage by stomping on his poor little hands. And Timothy falls and acts like it hurts, and I'm like, you fell a couple of inches, buddy. I think you're fine. But okay. Whatever floats your boat. Thatcher eventually gets on top of Ciampa, though, starts grinding him into the mat. An uppercut just flattens Ciampa. Thatcher stomps on him for a bit. We get a chinlock on Ciampa, but Ciampa starts trying to break free by breaking Thatcher's thumbs, which I wasn't a fan of, but you know. Thatcher tries to send Ciampa into the cage, but please look at this fuck up.
Wait, where?
Here. Tries to send Ciampa into the cage, but Cage blocks.
The Cage did a fantastic job in this match. I just want to say that.
For Wrestler of the Night.
Yeah, the Cage just knocked it out of the park.
Ciampa blocks by putting his leg and arm out. He sends an elbow back to Thatcher. He starts slamming Mr. Thatcher into the chain link fence, which I was not quite a fan of, personally. There's a knee to the face of Thatcher and a double underhook attempt by Tommaso, but Thatcher drives Tommaso's shoulder first into the chain link fence. Ciampa is then having his hand bent backwards into the metal poles, but Tommaso stomps on Thatcher's knee, which I didn't care for either. Thatcher tosses Ciampa in a belly-to-back release suplex. Thatcher starts bending Ciampa's fingers backwards, slams them, and this was the part, like, there weren't as many moments in this match that made me, like, grit my teeth as I would have wanted for a Tommaso-Thatcher fight, but he bent Ciampa's fingers backwards and then slammed them tip first into the mat. Like, have you ever stubbed a finger and you just sit there and you're like, well, that's broken.
Yep.
Just gonna have to get a popsicle stick and tape it to the bottom of that because there's no fixing it now. So Thatcher does that to Ciampa, and I very nearly was like, no. Throw up the X's for Elizabeth. She is out of here. Oh. Thatcher gets into Thatcher mode at this point. He's very high on the fact that he's probably broken a finger or two. It's ended quickly by Ciampa catapulting him into the fence and getting a single leg crab submission on Thatcher. But it's Thatcher who's pretty much the king of submission-based catch wrestling and just kicks Tommaso in the spine. He then kicks him into the cage. We get a sleeper on Ciampa, and Ciampa's starting to look a little tired until he kicks Timothy Thatcher in the balls, because the only way Ciampa could possibly see himself winning was through a low blow, which is legal in a fight pit. But also, it's a cheap move. We get a Widow's Bell off of... Okay, so this was the other thing that annoyed me. That frustrated me. Was that after this, Drake Wuertz somehow ends up on hands and knees. I don't know how we got to that point. I wasn't paying attention.
I don't know either.
All I know is that I look over, Drake Wuertz is on hand and knee, and Ciampa's on one side, Thatcher's on the other, and Ciampa pulls Thatcher down into a Widow's Bell off of Wuertz. Normally it would be off of a rope, but it was off of another bigot. Which...
To be fair, there aren't any ropes or anything to do a Widow's Bell off of.
I mean, that's why I said normally it'd be off the ropes.
Yeah.
But it's just... off of Drake Wuertz? Come on, dude. Should have been off of Zombie Ref at the very least. Then I wouldn't feel like it was 2-on-1.
Yeah.
Feels like Drake Wuertz was just like, yeah, Tommaso, I'll fucking help you out. I'm also a racist. Anywho, Ciampa attempts the fairy tale ending. Thatcher says, no thank you, uppercuts him. They exchange blows for a while, and then there's a hard slap to Thatcher, which I said, I've seen Walter slap Thatcher, and he's come out okay. I don't know how Tommaso slapping Thatcher is going to sell that fucking hard, but whatever.
Mm.
It's professional wrestling. There's a fairy tale ending. I kind of saw it ending there.
Yeah. It looked inescapable.
It looked bad. There's a Kirifuda clutch on Thatcher.
Kirifuda clutch.
It's okay. So it wasn't the Kirifuda clutch because
it wasn't Shayna.
Shayna.
Shayna just ran in the fight pit, dove in, and
Shayna's like, I also hate Timothy Thatcher. But it's the same form as the Kirifuda clutch. So I don't know if I don't think that the Kirifuda clutch is Shayna's move.
It's a headlock. Yeah,
I think the only thing that makes it something other than just a headlock is the legs, which is what. But I don't think that the Kirifuda clutch is like her signature move or anything like that. I think it's a move, like an enziguri.
I think it's still her move. Kind of like how the DDT started as somebody's signature move, or like the super kick did.
Now you got me interested, actually. And we've been moving through this very quickly, so.
You're gonna look at the Kirifuda clutch. Do you know how to spell Kirifuda clutch?
I do.
That is shocking.
I've looked it up before. Okay, so Shayna calls it the Kirifuda clutch. It's the same thing as the Coquina clutch.
Cocaine? Cocaine clutch?
Don't be mean to Samoa Joe like that.
What?
The Coquina clutch.
Oh. I had no idea that was anything related to Samoa Joe.
Yeah, that's like his thing.
I had no idea.
Really? I feel like that's the only move I associate with him.
I mean, Samoa Joe stopped wrestling before we started watching.
Yeah, but you always seem to be watching matches with him.
Only like Rumbles and stuff. Rebels.
Anyways, it's a clutch, I guess. I'm going to continue to call it what I want to.
It's a crutch.
It's a crutch. Oh, there's so many jokes that write themselves off of that for Tommaso. Anyways.
I was going to say for WWE.
Same diff, honestly, at the end of the day. One's an entity, one's a person. Also an entity. But in spite of this crutch. Again, it's Thatcher. Thatcher is the king of submission. He knows how to get out of shit. Mm-hmm. Which I think we both forgot because we were both like, oh, fuck. And then all of a sudden Thatcher's just on his knees, like, pushing himself out. And I was like, oh, I guess I shouldn't have been worried in the first place.
Yeah.
Thatcher crawls out of it. He drives Tommaso into the cage, neck first, taking full advantage of the surgically repaired neck that Tommaso currently owns. Thatcher goes for a sleeper on Ciampa. It doesn't work the way he wants it to, so he then wedges Tommaso's leggy, lifts him up basically, and puts him in that space between the two walls of the cage, wedges the fucking little leggy into the cage, gets the other leggy around his fucking neck, and just fucking cranks on the goddamn thing until Tommaso Ciampa says, I'm about to die. Let me tap the fuck out right now. As they put it, it was like a modified stretch muffler submission, and by the modified part, it was because 90% of Tommaso Ciampa was just hanging in the air. And then Timothy Thatcher did what he does best, which is seething in the middle of the ring.
While they stared at each other.
Yeah. I thought he was about to shake Tommaso's hand too, and I was like, don't you fucking dare. I was like, you're my little punk bitch. You're not shaking hands with him.
And I want to disclose this now. I didn't love this match. I think it was A, on the short side, and
it was too short.
B, not as brutal as we were kind of led to believe it would be. Especially given how we had the first fight pit as sort of the standard that was set.
Can I say why this doesn't bother me, honestly?
Why? Because you love Timothy Thatcher.
Aside from that. It's because, one, we were set up with a really good fight pit. You know? Like you said, that the expectation was way higher than it probably should have been.
One of the best matches of 2020.
Yeah, that was the most insane fucking match. Especially because, we took months just being like, no, he didn't lose his teeth. Maybe he lost his teeth. No, he didn't. And then we were like, no, he did. He did lose those teeth. I think the thing for me is that, if I'm going point by point with what you said here, I almost like when I don't like a match because I think it's too short. Because that means that the match was good enough for me in general, and the lead up to it was good enough for me in general, that I would have loved to see this 20 minutes longer. And on top of that, it's sort of like sometimes I get upset with matches that I see built up that suck. Because it's like, oh, well, flash in the pan, never gonna see that again. But I know for a fact that Timothy Thatcher especially, his matches are always, very fucking brutal. So I'm not so upset because, yeah, this fight pit was a little neither here nor there. But the next Timothy match is going to be just as fun.
I think what this makes me look forward to is because they've established that the fight pit is Thatcher's thing.
Yeah.
It is the thing that Thatcher will go undefeated in, will always win in. I look forward to the match where somebody beats Thatcher in a fight pit match. And I think, some good options would be like Karrion Kross, Walter.
I'd take Walter. That's probably one of the only people I would take.
Kushida.
Yeah. I don't see that happening.
Another one of Imperium.
Would take Imperium, especially Bartel. Or Wolf, for that matter. I think Eichner's probably the only one I wouldn't take.
Keith Lee, if he was still in NXT.
Yeah. Keith Lee doesn't strike me as a fight pit sort of dude.
Pete Dunne.
But I think, as far as, viable fight pit options go, all those people plus Dexter Lumis are viable options. I don't really want to see him lose a fight pit to somebody that isn't, unless the storyline is, stellar. I don't want to see it, especially not Karrion Kross.
Finn Balor.
Finn Balor would have his fucking arm broken by Thatcher.
That's why I want to see it. I want to hear the weird screaming he does.
Yeah.
Or I think Pete Dunne would be one of the best options for another fight pit.
Pete Dunne would be a good option. I don't think we're gonna get another one for months upon months now. But
maybe another year.
I kind of felt slighted at War Games with Thatcher and Tommaso. I sort of thought that Thatcher probably should have won that match.
Thatcher lost that so he could win today.
True. I thought Thatcher should have gotten more. And even today, I kind of feel like Thatcher should have gotten more than he got.
Mm-hmm.
But I gotta say, he's one of those wrestlers where I watch him and I'm like, just give me more. I'll take it all. I don't give a shit. I love watching him wrestle because he is a dude who straight up looks like he's like, I don't fucking care if I lose a goddamn ear in this match. I will fight you until I win. And he said something that I was going to bring up in the news and I kind of decided not to. Because there's a quote from him. He was interviewed by Sports Illustrated recently.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this match. And I'll talk about it while you put the sign up.
All right.
And he basically said he's not looking to main event WrestleMania. And
Thatcher?
Yeah. Okay. And he basically said, I have to stick to my guns. For me, this has to be authentic. I need to do this the way I think it should be. I want to pay homage to the people that don't get the respect they deserve. If I can pay a little homage to them, I'll consider this all a success. And the Fight Pit is a wonderful opportunity to do that because it lets me be in my element. I still don't have any aspirations for fame. I'm not looking to main event WrestleMania. I'm looking to get my point across. And I like that it genuinely feels like from his character to his matches.
Mm-hmm. I'm spinning a lot. I'm spinning out of control right now. Trying to catch myself.
But I feel like from his entire ethos, like the part of him that bleeds through even when he's just being a dick, is that he's not here for flash. He's not here for, like, to be the Miz. He's straight up just here to fucking wrestle.
He's not here to be The Rock.
Yeah. And a lot of articles that I've ever read about him basically said the same thing. And, like, he vanished for a couple of years, basically. I think between, like, 2016 and 2018? He, like, vanished and nobody knew where the fuck he was.
Mm-hmm.
And because he doesn't have social media, literally nobody knew where the fuck he was. And he still hasn't talked about it, but basically he came back and, like, he had come from, like, a losing streak and he came back and was just, like, better than anybody had ever seen him. And I like that it just feels like it's not just for the glitz, you know? He's just fucking there. I love that man. Anyways, let's go.
But just like Thatcher, our bests of the night are there. And we start off with our promo of the night, which I am actually, like, lost on. I have no idea what could even contend at this point.
There's only one in my eyes.
We started off with Tyler Rust talking to Malcolm Bivens, wanting to fight Bronson Reed. We didn't really catch much of that. There was the MSK vignette, which was funny, but...
Love the Borat impressions in the beginning. That, like, I knew I loved Zach Wentz, and then he did that shit, and I was like, that's the man I love. He's perfect.
Also, I love how everyone can see the Timothy Thatcher gifs on your phone right now.
Can they?
Yeah, they can.
I'm on Tumblr. This just happens to be there. I didn't search for this.
That's all that's on your Tumblr right now, I'm sure.
Yeah, honestly, it's because I follow, like, 3 people that all reblog from each other, so I see the same post 14 times. It's fantastic.
Then we had the Tony and Mercedes promo shit-talking Casey and Caden, which was lame. We had Thatcher and Ciampa weigh in. Strange. We had Beth Phoenix introducing the Dusty Rhodes women's bracket, which was nice. It was nice to see all the new faces to NXT. We had Finn backstage with Reegs. It was okay.
Willie.
Mackenzie announcing Ashante is injured. I feel like we didn't get the full content of that promo. Then we had the Finn Balor interview where he says that he's going to visit someone who owes him a favor. I guess Kyle was that person that owes him a favor. Then we had Finn walking into the UE locker room, recruiting Kyle. This was great. This was nice.
I like that.
It was, especially Roddy's, shut your mouth, Prince.
And Finn, once again, resorting back to the fucking cat comparison.
He is a goddamn moron.
I kind of thought that, like, maybe he, like, took a break from it and was going with, like, kind of, like, cheesy metaphors now after the whole cut from the cloth deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then he came back in and fucking started saying he was a cat again. And I said, all right. Sure. I guess.
What else? We had Santos in the ring. Better than normal Santos promos. But still, Santos. Then we had the Drake and Killian interview. Oh no, it wasn't the last one. Yeah, we had the Drake and Killian interview, which was nice to see their relationship kind of come together just a bit more. And then lastly, we had Lucha House Party and Kurt Stallion interview, which was interrupted by Legato, which was here nor there.
It was interesting to see Kurt Stallion.
Yeah.
Happy to see him on black and yellow and not fucking purple, my god.
He's basically a blonde Tyler Rust.
Anytime I think about... Also, I think Tyler Rust is blonde.
He's like a dirty blonde, light brown hair.
He's like a little bit of a lighter version of you.
Yeah.
But anytime I think about 205 Live, I just like get vitriolically angry.
It's so dumb.
Also, can we discuss real quick, because we didn't discuss this, some of the women's Dusty Rhodes matches being on 205 Live, where there's not a women's division?
Yeah, it's going to be the first ever women's match in the history of 205 Live.
Which is a problem in and of itself. Why are we having
Anyway.
NXT wants to take everything from me.
My pick for promo of the night is Finn recruiting Kyle.
Yeah, I was going to say that's the only one I would have chosen. Primarily because of the cat bullshit.
It's the only one that was, like, relatively interesting.
Also, the fact... I think there was one point, I can't quite remember what happened. I just know that... I think something along the lines of, like, Finn said... Something along the lines of, like, we're not idiots here, or we're not all, like... Something like that. Something to that effect.
I don't remember that.
I cannot... Now I can't remember anything, because Fight Pit happened. My brain has been completely wiped.
I see you were in that corner as well. With Tommaso?
No, I wanted to be Tommaso. Honestly, the way my hips feel sometimes, that probably would have been nice for Elizabeth. But it was just like, he said something along the lines of that. And that was around the time that Roddy spoke up, and I was like, dummy. My king, though.
But now we move on to Wrestler of the Night. We started off with Kushida and Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. My pick is Kushida for this, for sure. I mean, the man deals with momentum better than any other wrestler in the whole promotion. Like, he is
the example of what Jeff Hardy does that I hate being done well. Because Kushida always does the hip drag or the hip toss or whatever into the drop kick, and then usually there's something else like an arm bar or something like that.
German suplex.
Yeah, like there's usually something else added to the end, and it's rapid succession, but it's not so rapid succession that I'm like, it may as well be one move.
It's because Kushida knows how to move fast. Jeff Hardy, I think, he's taken too many drugs. He can't move fast enough anymore. I like how that took a second to click. Like you weren't entirely paying attention.
You spoke very quickly, and my brain was like, wait.
But yeah, Kushida rocked that match 100%. Then we had Karrion Kross versus Ashante Adonis. I don't know. Vic Joseph. Lucha House Party versus Imperium.
There was one point tonight, and we talked about this, where Wade Barrett was going off on a fucking tangent as somebody was... I think it was the Johnny Gargano match.
And then Vic just screamed,
"Cover!" I was like, Vic, just say you hate Wade and get on with it. Let's go. You know why they brought Beth Phoenix back to the ringside area?
So they wouldn't kill each other?
They needed a chaperone. They needed someone to mediate the tension.
I think, like, the Browns lost. I think that's why.
My favorite thing to believe is just simply that Vic and Wade hate each other.
But because they love each other.
Exactly. It's brotherly.
Yeah. But then we move on to Lucha House Party versus Imperium. My pick, without a doubt, is Lince Dorado. He was insane. A lot of the moves that he lined up with Grand Metalik. I know you want to say Marcel Bartel.
That is not true. If I were choosing hottest man of the match, I would say Marcel Bartel.
That you know of, Lince needs to take off his goddamn mask.
Needs to stop being a fucking coward and take that mask off like he promised he would do.
Well, to be fair, he didn't promise. He just teased it.
Yeah, I don't like being teased.
Alright.
It's not what I meant.
No, just ignore it and move on.
Alright.
Ignore it, push forward.
Let's push forward. Let me look back at my notes. This was hard for me. Between Lince and Grand Metalik.
I think Lince had the more impressive moves. Grand Metalik, most of the impressive stuff that he did was because of Lince and setups Lince gave him. And he had that amazing Hurricane Rana, but that's like one move compared to everything Lince did in the ring. Like, he destroyed Marcel and Fabian. It was a good Hurricane Rana, but I think
it's so funny. His Hurricane Ranas used to make me so fucking mad,
and
now I'm just like, give me more, Grand Metalik.
That's what practice will do.
I think the thing that's sticking in my mind is basically that one move where Grand Metalik dropkicked Eichner so Lince could roll through, and I can't decide who did a better job. But at the same time, I feel like that's like 33% to all of them. Because
wait, who gets the third 33%?
Eichner, only because Grand Metalik had to dropkick him, and it was a very solid dropkick. Off the top, not even off the top buckle, but off the top ropes. And then from there, Eichner had to fall back in just a way for Lince to have room to go under him. It was very well choreographed. It's just so funny to me that Bartel is the only one that I'm sitting here and I'm like, you didn't... It felt like, like in like comedies, when like a person goes to a different country and they can't speak the language, but they try and they like swear profusely or something. That's what it felt like to me, because it looked like Bartel was doing his absolute best, but there were moments where he was like, oh fuck, I've got to do this and then this.
Wait, that move you were talking about, was that when, did Grand Metalik jump off the corner?
Yes.
Okay, I have that image in my mind, and
it was very perfect.
I thought the most impressive part of that was Lince, in my opinion. It's
hard to weigh, because like in my head when that kind of stuff happens, I'm like, well, if I took this person out, what would happen? But to be fair, Grand Metalik, there was a bit of a botched point where the kind of fucked up DDT from Eichner while Bartel held him.
Yeah, like he got his leg tucked in rather than wrapped around.
Yeah, his leg was not where it was supposed to be, and like Bartel had to like take a second, pause, and be like, okay, grab that. I think the problem with him was that you could see like the wheels turning in his head.
Yeah, I
Nothing
saw that.
felt fluid for Bartel tonight. I love him so much, and I feel like we don't get to see Imperium as much as I want to.
Yeah.
But my My poor dude was so out of his element. Bless his fucking soul. It's sad because he's a great wrestler, so it's like I don't feel angry about it or anything, but I'm just like, babes.
Yeah. But then we move on to Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. As much as it pains me, I think the only option to go with for this match is Casey Catanzaro. She was super impressive, incredibly acrobatic. Yeah, she's just insane.
I lost track for a second because you were clicking around. I thought you were about to put Casey as the wrestler of the night, and I was like,
no. I haven't even gone through all the matches yet.
I was like, as much as she is an idiot, I do love her too, but maybe pull that one in. Yeah, I mean, Mercedes, it's hard with her because Mercedes is such a fucking powerhouse. And
Mercedes.
Listen, you should see how many times I fucked up spelling Martinez. Just because my fingers would not reach one of the letters.
Martizez.
We've got Martinez with an S, which is a fair enough fuck up. Martizez, Mercedes.
That's spelled normally. I don't know.
Is that spelled normally?
Yeah, that is spelled normally.
Oh, good job, Elizabeth.
Okay, and Mercedes. Who the fuck spells it like Mercedes?
When you don't have your glasses on, all those E's look wrong. But Mercedes is such a powerhouse that it's like it didn't feel like she looked good because she didn't look like she hurt anyone.
Yeah, that's a good point. I feel like if you're a powerhouse, it's really up to the opponent to sell that you're a powerhouse.
Yeah.
Like Thatcher.
Exactly. But like with Rhea, like it's not necessarily somebody selling a move. Like when Rhea dropkicks somebody, Rhea could be dropkicking a fucking wall, and I'd be like, that hurts. That hurts.
That wall is in a lot of pain.
That wall might need to go to like a chiropractor now. But Mercedes just didn't look stellar. Toni
didn't do anything.
Toni has yet to get over on me, honestly. I hate to say it because when Toni Storm was rumored to come back, I was kind of like, ooh, fun. Women. Like women. But Toni's just all character and nothing else. It always looks like she's a step behind the game. Mm-hmm. And Kaden looked good, but Kaden...
She was alright.
I think the thing that sells me on Casey for tonight was that last move. Whatever the fuck. 360, 450, who the fuck knows?
Oh, yeah.
Vic Joseph can't do math because he failed math in high school, and I said, sing?
Except that you also got 1910 on your SATs.
Got 1910 on the SATs, but definitely almost failed math all 4 years of high school.
Also,
Thank God for that fourth quarter.
Casey had that fantastic Hurricane Rana.
Yeah, dude, Casey actually looked like she, because when they said this is our inaugural match for the fucking Dusty Rhodes women's bracket, I was like, okay, you've been using these two girls as like fucking enhancement talent for the last however many months, but sure. When they said that was going to happen, I didn't have a lot of hope, and then Casey came out, and I said...
Oh my god, they're the Everrise of the women's division.
Yeah, not quite as annoying.
Well, after this episode...
Oh, that was one thing. They're just excited.
It's the start. It's the start of them being the women Everrise. I'm
not going to argue with you on that yet, but I'm just going to say that I really thought I was going to be disappointed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was not... I was not disappointed by the match, and I was not disappointed by the length. I thought it was going to be a really short match. Mm-hmm. Especially Mercedes and Toni versus these two very small women. Yeah. Or as some might say, little women. That's a literary reference.
All right, moving on.
I just want to say that I this gives me a lot of hope for the fucking actual classic. Yeah. I was very stressed out about it, and
that was the actual classic.
I mean, for the rest of it. Yeah. But it gives me a lot of hope for it, and I feel like if you're gonna give me Casey and Kaden looking fucking good, mm-hmm. and looking good after looking like they're about to get their asses handed to them, because I mean Mercedes Martinez came out in pulling no punches. Mm-hmm. So I'm thrilled. I'm fucking thrilled.
But then we had Tyler Rust versus Bronson Reed.
Malcolm Bivens. Motivational speaker.
I'm gonna give this one to Bronson Reed.
Yeah, sure.
Bronson Reed has really been improving himself as a wrestler and really separating himself from just being a big guy, just being like the what do you call himself? Thick boy. He's really moving away from that, and I love it.
He is thick man now.
He is colossal.
The one thing I am
Yeah. Was that English? ¿Cómo se dice?
What? Today's been so long. The one thing I am excited about today for this particularly is that I like that even though Tyler Rust was basically a jobber in this match, what I liked was that it looks like Malcolm Bivens, which we don't usually get this. We get this with Paul Heyman, and that's about it. Like, Robert Stone's driven by Robert Stone. Malcolm Bivens, which, again, anytime Malcolm Bivens opens his mouth, I'm just like, just like, read me a story. I do really like that Malcolm Bivens was like, okay, so this is a learning moment. You can't just fight anybody that fucking annoys you.
Right.
And this makes me feel like we're going to get hella Tyler Rust coming up.
Yeah.
And hella Tyler Rust fighting people that Tyler Rust should be fighting. And that is so exciting to me. And I keep saying that, but tonight's episode of NXT gave me so much just fucking joie de vivre. Because they did everything right tonight, and this just makes me so excited because Tyler Rust versus who the fuck was it? Who did he fight? That was good that first time?
August Gray? Who did he fight?
Who did he fight that first match?
Wasn't it Timothy Thatcher?
No, Tim's his mentor.
Yeah, I thought he fought Timothy Thatcher.
No, he fought Tommaso.
Did he?
I'm almost positive of it.
Hold on.
Look it up. I'm almost positive he fought Tommaso. Because he didn't win because we kind of knew he wasn't going to win.
I don't think it was Ciampa.
I'm almost positive it was.
Let's see. Let's see. In-ring Oh, yeah, it was Ciampa.
Yeah, because we were sitting here and we were like, you can't win.
But then he had that match against Aria Daivari, which was also fantastic.
Yeah, and that made me say, maybe I should watch Show 5 Live.
Yeah.
But that was such an incredible match for a first match that I feel like we're going to get more of that. And I'm really excited because also, now that Tommaso, they kind of it sounded like they were closing the chapter where they kind of said like, and now both men leave the ring respecting each other as warriors or whatever fucking Wade said or something very stupid. But I'm wondering if maybe that's where we're going next. I'm very excited.
I'm hoping they just don't stick him in a tag team and just call it at that.
I don't think they will. I think, in a way, Malcolm Bivens is his tag team.
I'd like to see him against Johnny. That'd be good.
Johnny would be good.
Cameron Grimes.
Grimes could be good as well. Dexter Loomis. They're both kind of catch-based.
I don't think so.
Really?
Dexter works against somebody who's completely different from his fighting style.
True.
He's a very good contrast. Like, he's great at catching high flyers. Like, who did he fight at most recently?
He just fucking fought somebody. Who the fuck was it? It wasn't Cameron.
Wasn't it Johnny? Yeah, he fought Johnny.
Did he?
Yeah. Because remember Austin Theory got involved? And Shotzi fought Candace that night too?
Yes, because now I feel like Dexter's probably going to kill Austin Theory.
Yeah. And Johnny's very much like opposite of Dexter's style, and that was an amazing match.
I think it would behoove me to take my notes from 2020 NXT and Raw and SmackDown and move them into a different file. Only because now I'm realizing I'm like, it'd be easy to look back on these things. That would be nice.
Yeah.
But
anyway, going back to Wrestler of the Night. Lastly, we have Timothy Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa. I'm gonna give this one to Thatcher, only because of how he was much more creative in this than he normally is. Like, that finisher itself was super creative. Bending the fingers and falling on them was creative. But other than that, we didn't really see a whole different Thatcher. We didn't see, like, he didn't feel like he was being pushed to his limits at all.
I think that goes to speak to the timing of the match.
Yeah.
If the match were longer, because that's how we felt with Riddle and Thatcher.
Yeah.
Although Thatcher ended up beating Riddle within, like, an inch of his fucking life.
Yeah.
I don't think that we got to see something like that because it was so short, which I will take issue with on a different day. But anyways, the one thing for me mostly is just that, and we talked about this because I sent you a clip of Thatcher from earlier 2019, back when he was with Riddle, and Thatcher has improved in the American pro wrestling scene by, like, leaps and bounds.
Mm-hmm.
And by American pro wrestling, I mean, like, obviously I think he did really well in the indies because it's the indies and there's a little more room for brutality.
Yeah.
Where it's a little more sanitized on WWE. I think he's found that happy medium. And the one thing that really meant a lot to me is that, and you notice this a lot because for some reason I spent a lot of today and yesterday watching old promos from him, especially in Evolve, where the way he spoke in a lot of those promos, it was so stilted.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like, like the guy you are partnered with in, like, a short film class, and, like, he has to be the actor because you have no one else and you're the only one that's good with a camera. And he's just, like, delivering his lines in, like, a very, like, stiff way.
Mm-hmm.
And that made me really respect the fact that we've seen him in better promos recently, like, looking much more fluid and like a person.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that we got moments where he, like, looked into the fucking camera as, like, Tommaso was, like, ripping his arm off, basically. I liked that because it felt like we were getting the WWE Thatcher, which I think has only taken him, like, a year and a half to fucking form.
Uh-huh.
Which, I don't know. He's got a Dexter Lumis thing for me, where it's like he's just constantly improving.
Yeah.
And, I'm sad we didn't get any blood, but that's fine. Timothy only has so many teeth that he can lose in 1-2 years.
But because we have to do best of the night, I am going to pick as overall best wrestler of the night. Let's see, who did I pick? I'm gonna go with Lince Dorado. He's my pick for overall wrestler of the night. If you thought I was gonna go with Timothy Thatcher, you are way wrong.
I like that you just assume that I'm going to pick people because I want to sleep with them.
That's not what you just went on a huge tangent about Timothy Thatcher. That's why I thought you'd pick him.
Because that's me talking about Timothy Thatcher over the last year and a half.
You made that assumption.
Listen, you made enough comments about Drew, okay? What I am going to say here is that
I think Lindsay and Gren Metalik too, but I think Lindsay more so because he had more time in the ring, really showed why they've been in wrestling so long, why they're basically veterans at this point, why they deserve to be on the main roster. When being brought to this this field with these massive guys that just are double their size.
You know what's funny to me? Is that in a weird way this proves to me why they should be in NXT. And what I mean by that is nothing bad. It's just that, like,
they can show who they are in NXT.
Lucha House Party in NXT versus Lucha House Party on the main roster. Which they've been doing incredible on the main roster too. Let's not discount that.
Lately, yeah.
Yeah. But watching them on NXT, I'm like, this is where you guys need to be.
Yeah.
I'm having so much more fun watching you here.
I feel like they've already developed a story on NXT before they have on the main roster.
Which also excites me for Royal Rumble, because this is mixing and we weren't allowed that for a while, so who knows.
Yeah.
Anyways, to stick to the point, I'm not going to quibble over whether it should be Grand Metalik or Lindsay. I guess I'll go with you on this. But I do like nights where it's hard to pick because I can't really decide, and everybody that I really like to watch tonight did really well.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what's funny to me too?
Hmm.
Is that outside of Fight Pit being something I was really excited about, tonight felt like a pay-per-view. Tonight felt like it should have been a pay-per-view for me. Just not so much in, like, the skill, but just in the fact that I left NXT tonight feeling like, holy fuck, this was amazing. I had so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, I think what it was just missing was a main card. There wasn't really a main card.
They didn't leave enough time for the main card. And what I think they really should have done.
Gotten rid of Karrion and Ashante.
I forgot about Karrion and Ashante. So I guess, yeah. But I was going to say, I think what they should have done is saved Casey and Kaden for next week. Pushed the women's Dusty 1 week forward. And then had more time for Fight Pit tonight. Because Fight Pit technically has precedence over Women's Dusty Classic, only because it was announced prior to.
Yeah.
I feel like they should have just pushed that over. And also, let's be honest here. We all know the reason why the Dusty Classic, not the Dusty Classic, fuck me. We all know why the Fight Pit was pushed off. Tommaso had COVID. Okay? Tommaso had COVID. I can almost guarantee you of that. It is why Timothy was the one in the promos and we did not see Tommaso for 2 fucking weeks. I will stand by that fact. And also it's because I'm going to blame him for the reason that this was pushed off. But that said, if we did not have to delay this, we would have gotten an even better Fight Pit, and I can almost guarantee you that.
Yeah.
But again, just to my point, I left tonight feeling as hyped up about wrestling as I do after TakeOver.
I didn't feel that. I didn't feel that this week. I mean, it was a good episode.
Maybe I'm just having a good day.
Which is shocking.
Maybe that was so nice in comparison to the horrid day that we had.
Yeah.
With our cat decided to make a poop bomb.
If you want to find out exactly what happened, check out the VOD of my live stream from earlier today.
I asked Mark to clean up Pepita having pooped because I can't do it without gagging. And Pepita said, "You'll learn your fucking lesson," and stepped in her own poop, and we had to clean it because she tracked it through the entire apartment. And Mark said, "I'm not pausing my stream for this." So if you want to hear us scolding the cat. But
anyway, match of the night.
I was just gonna.
What?
I was just gonna say that whether you liked it or not, I left tonight feeling fucking thrilled, and I have not felt that way about like Raw or SmackDown since Drew won the title back on
Really?
Raw. Yeah, I have not left Raw or SmackDown feeling any sort of jazzed about wrestling in a very long time.
I feel like NXT has given you that feeling like every week.
Which is why when I leave NXT feeling even more hyped up about wrestling, that's when I'm like, that's probably a really good sign. I just love NXT.
But now we have the honor of figuring out our match of the night. We started off with Kushida and Leon Ruff versus Johnny Gargano and Austin Theory. I wish we had been able to watch this whole match smoothly, but what we did see...
Fubo did one nice thing, which is every time it buffered, it did keep us in the same spot.
Yeah, it didn't skip forward.
It just held us back.
This match was great. Like, I don't think we talked about this match enough. This match was fantastic.
I think we were too frustrated to actually talk about how good the match was.
Yeah, I think so too. Kushida absolutely popped off. Leon Ruff, we haven't seen this Leon Ruff in a long time. Johnny was great too. Theory pulled off a lot of really cool moves that I didn't think he'd do.
That bastard is such an asshole, and he's so good at wrestling. It makes me so mad every fucking week.
And what also pisses me off is that he wasn't like this on the main roster at all.
Once again, going to prove my point that wrestlers thrive on NXT, and then they go to the main roster, and they're shit. Which is why I know Rhea Ripley's getting moved up, because we did not even reference Rhea Ripley tonight.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like,
yeah,
not a whiff of Rhea.
Isn't it interesting how the person that's actually rumored to be moving up to the main roster, Damian Priest, has not been referenced in weeks, and Rhea has not been referenced in weeks? Isn't it interesting and saddening?
Yeah.
They're gonna fucking ruin them.
I don't think they'll ruin Rhea.
I think they might.
They haven't ruined Shayna yet. Shayna has not been ruined at all.
That's Shayna versus Rhea. Never mind.
Shayna versus Rhea. Rhea versus Bianca.
That's two different brands.
Oh, SmackDown. No, yeah, Bianca's on SmackDown.
SmackDown. Shayna's on Raw.
Oh, yeah. I don't know why you said Rhea versus Shayna. Because
you mentioned Shayna.
Saying that...
Well, you said that Shayna hasn't been ruined.
Yeah.
And that's why I said, Rhea versus Shayna would be great.
Yeah, it would be. But isn't Rhea going to SmackDown?
I don't know if anybody knows where anybody is going for real.
Well, all I'm saying is, like, Rhea versus Bianca would be cool. Rhea versus Bayley would be cool. Rhea versus Nia Jax.
I would prefer Rhea go to Raw. Only because the wrestlers on Raw have more brawn. Women's wrestlers, like with Nia, Shayna, even Dana.
I can almost guarantee she's going to SmackDown because there's like no women on that brand.
I think she'd fit in better on Raw.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, honestly, if there's one person that can make Dana look good, I think Dana has a chance with Rhea.
Okay.
I don't want to think about that because that actually makes me sad.
Also, you haven't thought about this. Rhea versus Sonya.
Get the... Oh, I forgot about Sonya.
How could you forget about Sonya?
Because she's being a manager. She's being very responsible.
She can multitask.
Oh, I love her so much.
But anyway,
Are we talking about Raw still? No, we're talking about NXT.
No, we're not. We never were.
Really have to be.
But Kushida and Leon Ruff versus Johnny and Austin was a great match.
It was.
I'm kind of excited that Johnny and Austin are not in this tournament anymore because it means they can have more story matches and be pushed more into singles stuff.
Can I say the one reason why I'm not excited?
Why?
Because Theory is like Bayley. He likes to interfere. And it works in a tag team match. Because you're like, yes, that's your job. But in singles matches when that shit happens, I'm like...
But if the Dexter Loomis match is any example, I think it's going to be very rare that it happens.
I would love to see Dexter versus Austin Theory just to make his little fucking head pop again.
Yeah, like, what it seems like in NXT is... interference doesn't happen without consequence. Every action has a consequence, it seems like in NXT. But anyway, moving on. Karrion Kross versus Ashante Adonis. Anyway, moving on. Lucha House Party versus Imperium. This was a banger. This match was great. Even
in spite of Marcel Bartel. God love him.
This had really almost everything. Almost everything. Lacked a little bit of story, but I mean, it's a tournament match. You can't really expect that.
You can overlook the story.
Right, and I think when you're comparing everything today, not much really had both a story and great wrestling.
And I think on the bright side here with that, in terms of the tournament, it's Lucha House Party, who are technically veterans, or WWE veterans. That came out weird.
They fought in war.
It's just the way I said veterans was nasal. But they're WWE veterans, and they seem so fresh in NXT, looking for that title, versus Imperium, who have been NXT Tag Team Champions. And, like, their whole thing is honor and respect. I think that's a perfect pairing.
Yeah.
That it's, like, these fresh faces versus, like, the guys who just, like, they feel like they're owed this. I like that.
Yeah.
So even without the story, there was almost story. You could say.
But the wrestling was fantastic. We really saw Lindsay and Grand Metalik for who they are.
Oh,
Fabian was great too. And the way that Fabian and Marcel mesh as a tag team really makes you appreciate tag teams.
Yeah. And again, I mean, Marcel Bartel's such a good wrestler in general that, like, I can overlook tonight as being like, well, things fell through, whatever. But even so, the connection that he and Fabian have, because they have been wrestling together for a while, it is still so obvious, and I really like watching that.
Yeah. It's very similar to watching the Grizzled Young Vets.
Yeah.
But we had, after that, Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter versus Toni Storm and Mercedes Martinez. This very much seemed like a one-sided match. I enjoyed this match, but I think that's just because it was fun to watch Casey and Kaden. Yeah. Tony and Mercedes didn't do a whole lot, and they don't mesh as a tag team at all.
I think the saving grace was that Casey and Kaden did well. I think if Tony and Mercedes did as well as I expected them to, I would have fucking hated this.
Yeah.
I would have been so mad, because I think the whole point of the Dusty Classic for the women is to show, Casey and Kaden have been, like, stomped on multiple times in the past. But now is the time to show they're so good as a unit that any match is who could it be? And when we were talking earlier, and I said, looking at the bracket, I was like, it sucks because I kind of know who's going to win what. And after tonight, I don't think I do. I don't think I have any clue. Besides the one that's on 205 Live. I pretty much know where that's going.
Also, do you think that they are going to introduce a women's tag team title as a result of this tournament?
I thought that they would do that tonight.
You thought they would?
I did. I'm going to hold out hope until the final. Maybe it's one of those, like, who knows when's the best time to do it.
I think it's going to be like, and you also get a mystery reward, which is women's tag team titles.
I don't know why they don't have it. And I feel like
there's not enough tag teams.
Right. But, I mean, at the end of the day, the men's classic is for the title. So the women's classic should be for more than a trophy.
Unless the women's tag team, like the WWE women's tag team title, can also be won by NXT wrestlers.
And then they can challenge whoever they want on whatever brand.
Right. But, like...
And then we get Raquel and Dakota versus Charlotte and Asuka.
But, like, if NXT wrestlers can get that title, they don't really show it enough. They don't let that fact be known.
As excited as I am about having the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic for the women, I am going to be very disappointed if it does not end in a title. Because although the women's tag team scene is not as big on NXT, I think that's because they don't have a title. So it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So
I mean, there's even an NXT UK Cruiserweight Championship, so...
Yeah. I think that it's needed, and I would really, really, really scream if they created one.
Yeah. But moving on, we have Tyler Russ versus Bronson Reed. This was okay. That was it. And then last but not least, we had Timothy Thatcher versus Tommaso Ciampa. I liked it. It was good.
I liked it a lot.
Had a creative finish.
It was a very sexy finish. And barring my prejudices, no, actually not really, but barring the fact that I think Timothy Thatcher is a very attractive man, and I'm so happy because he doesn't have any social media. He'll never find out about what anybody says about him. For the best. I did like that in spite of the fact that we didn't get like a ton of brutality in this. We did get a very different submission.
Yeah, we did.
That was not how I expected this to end in the slightest.
Yeah, it really gave a purpose to the fight pit.
And I think it showed, like, Timothy Thatcher is, one, able to get out of anything you're about to put him into, which Tommaso came in there thinking, you know everything, or you think you know everything, and I'm going to prove to you you don't. And not only did we come out of that knowing Timothy knows how to get out of everything, but also he was innovative and he was inventive. And I think that really did a lot to sell the point. Kind of mad that the feud is over now.
That you know of.
I don't want Timothy to respect Tommaso. I want Tim Tam Thatch arms and muscles ready for the match unsanctioned murder time next week, where he says, now that I've beaten this fucking idiot, I'm going to show you how I did that on this poor unsuspecting soul.
With fake Edge.
With baby Edge.
But I will give this match a 0 out of 10 because there was no Kurt Angle.
Fair. You did get scared looking zombie ref, though.
But we also got Drake Wirtz.
Dude, when they showed Drake Wirtz fucking talking to Tommaso, like, explaining the rules one last time, as they put it, and they showed him talking to Tommaso, and Tommaso was, like, really listening to him. I made a joke that was like, they're probably exchanging, like, right-wing conspiracy theories, like, last minute before the match. And I thought it was funny. And then they showed Timothy Thatcher having the same interaction, more or less, with Drake Wirtz, where Timothy Thatcher was not paying attention to anything that Drake said. And I said, oh no. Oh, maybe I was right. Like, Tommaso was sitting there nodding and shit. And Timothy was just like, I don't fucking care, I don't fucking care, I don't fucking care. Bless his little soul.
But match of the night. Overall. My pick is...
Me. Pepita and her poupon.
No. No.
Us against Pepita and her poupon.
No.
Ah, that was a pretty good one.
My pick is... Lucha House Party versus Imperium. Not Fight Pit.
It's a bullshit move on your part, but I understand, and I agree.
Okay.
Only because where I know I could have gotten 10 extra minutes of Tim Tam Thatch arms and muscles ready for the match, stumbled on that. First time ever. And I know that I didn't because of Tommaso. That immediately negates it in my brain. If Tommaso had not gone and gotten fucking COVID, which I will stand by as my theory for why this happened, or later than it should have, if that hadn't happened, we would have gotten a full-blown fight pit, Matt Riddle style, 20 to 30 minutes long, also in full light. Why? It was so dark.
I feel like it was so dark in the other Fight Pit too.
No, I because I'm involved now.
You're a stan.
Now that I'm a stan.
Yep. We know how that story turned out. Eminem song.
You think that I could ever do something like that to Timothy Thatcher? He would look at me and probably break one of my bones. But that fight pit was really... It feels like a stupid fucking thing to complain about. Was really well lit. I thought I was watching Tim Tam's fight Tommaso under like a floodlight because the power went out.
Yeah.
And I think the only reason that we had it that way was because when they had him fighting Matt Riddle, and it was the trainees in the crowd, they didn't have the Thunderdome screens.
Right.
I think that's the only reason why we got it that way, and I hated it.
Yeah.
That ruined it for me, honestly.
I looked at the post episode thread on Reddit to see what everybody thought. Everybody was just loving the fight pit, saying like it rocked, it was like amazing, more fight pit. Like I do want to see more fight pit.
Oh yeah.
But I don't think like it was anything like phenomenal. Like I think of it the same way as the Boneyard match.
I think what we got, and again, I think this is just us just being kind of jaded. I think what we got was good. I really do.
It was good. It wasn't amazing.
I think it's because you and I are sitting here remembering Tim Tams versus Matt Riddle fight pit, which was just probably one of my favorite matches that I've ever watched.
Yeah.
And that's going off of a lot of matches I've taken notes on and remembered. In spite of remembering anything else that's important in my life. But I'm going to finish what I'm going to say, but I'm worried about your face.
Go ahead.
But I think the fight pit, because there is that threat of brutality, because Tim Tams took the risks that he did by bashing Tommaso's fingers into the... I mean, that is something that, one, could actually genuinely hurt a person.
Yeah.
I don't know if he did it in a safe way or in a way that it's fight pit.
I think he rolled up at the last second, so his fingers didn't actually hit the mat.
Like that?
Like, he went down like that, but then rolled up like that, so his like forearm or elbow was hitting at the last second.
Or he went like that and then went like that and let his fist hit first.
That's also possible, but that would also really hurt the fingers that he's holding on to.
No, because if I go like that, that doesn't hurt as much as going like that would. If anyone... Can people see that? Yeah. Don't look at my stomach right now. I really gotta pee. But I think... I'm gonna say something that will come across as biased. But I don't care. You know what I think made this fight pit less than stellar outside of the time constraint?
I mean, I have an idea, but you go ahead.
Tommaso Ciampa. I think because Matt Riddle, as much as I fucking hate the dude, I think because Matt Riddle is a judo-based catch-style wrestling dude, and so is Timothy. And Matt Riddle does not seem scared of taking liberties with his body. Because he's a young guy and he's a pretty fit dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think that made the fight pit way more exciting because it's two guys who just do not fucking care.
Mm-hmm.
Like, going at it. And I think Tommaso cares too much. I
think it's less so that, more so that Thatcher and Ciampa don't have good chemistry. I think Thatcher doesn't really like Ciampa, or the other way around. But Thatcher and Riddle really had like a connection, especially after being on a tag team for a while.
Also, shit I learned. So first of all, one thing that I think goes to prove your Tommaso point, and maybe this is just me being idealistic and hoping that people feel the same way I do. Tommaso, as we all know, and as I've been calling him consistently, is a bootlicker. He loves cops. It's a fucking problem. Thatcher is very intensely based in like the Southern California, or actually he's from Sacramento. Sacramento's Southern California, right?
I don't know.
San Francisco's lower.
I don't know the geography of California.
I think he's from California. He's a pretty laid-back dude, I think. But he also comes from a heavy punk background, and in my experience, the bands that he listens to, which I only know about because he wears their t-shirts all the fucking time, are very left-wing bands. I get a feeling that their ideologies do not mix. And I think that's a very hard thing to mesh in wrestling. When it's like... Because I know for a fact that if I were a wrestler, the opinionated person that I am, and I was wrestling somebody that had completely different views from me, I'd be like, oh no, I might actually hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's Timothy's deal.
You're just assuming.
I'm projecting. But with that said, aside from the ideology stuff, Thatcher did go through Evolve with Riddle.
Mm-hmm.
He wrestled Riddle before, prior to NXT.
Yeah.
And I think that previous knowledge, because I haven't seen anything that says that leads me to believe that he and Tommaso have encountered each other much before NXT. I think that definitely helped the Riddle Thatcher fight because they knew each other. Riddle's style has not changed in a very long time, if ever. And neither has Thatcher's. So, I think because their styles meshed and they had that previous knowledge of each other, it's sort of like how we talk about like when like Cedric and like Ricochet were fighting. Even if they're not friends, if you know the person and you have experience, you're going to be way more willing to be like, just fucking hit me. Than you would be with like somebody that you're like, hello, I'm Timothy Thatcher. How are you?
Yeah.
You know?
But before we go on too long...
I love turning what was an hour and a half podcast by the end of matches and promos into a 3-hour podcast.
To run it back, our promo of the night, Finn Balor recruits Kyle O'Reilly. Wrestler of the night, Lindsay Dorado. Match of the night, Lucha House Party versus Imperium. Liz?
Hi. Hopefully by Friday we will have a setup where I can sit in front of my laptop again.
And we'll have a wheel.
I'm gunning for us to figure this out by Thursday because I feel like my chemistry is better when I'm looking at you through a camera.
So that screws up the whole studio setup we were going to plan.
Don't sigh at me.
I didn't even sigh one
That
bit.
face may as well have been a sigh. Anyways, if you tuned in tonight, thank you so much. If you tuned in the future, thank you so much. Happy New President Day. And
Woo!
happy almost President's Day, which I officially have off from work. Woo! Anyways, please tune in on Friday. I like saying that our Wednesday episodes are going to be better. So I don't really know what to say on Fridays. But it's normally fun, because we got Saturday afterwards, and we don't really have any fucking obligations. Also, please tune in on the 27th for our 100th episode. We have literally not talked about it on Twitter at all, which we probably should start doing. But originally I went into the 27th episode promo kind of thing, thinking that I'd be done with this massive work project by then. That might not happen, but I'm still gonna drink. And then on the Sunday after that, we will have Royal Rumble, which I still don't know how I'm going to take notes on. But please join us for those. It'll be fun. I can basically guarantee you that much. So, yeehaw.
And if you enjoyed, hit that follow button or subscribe. Our YouTube is the Pinfall Podcast. We have all of our previous episodes on there, minus a few lately, because YouTube's not letting me put up the Raw podcast.
Why?
It constantly says processing failed and was aborted. So, thanks YouTube. And our Twitter is at Pinfall Podcast. My Twitter is at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And again, thank you all for watching. Check out the SmackDown podcast this coming Friday, and we'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody. And bye-bye. I can't find the mouse. There we go.
Oh, dear Lord.